So in 2025, we've seen quite a few of the challenger brands like Megamo, Unno, Crestline, and this latest one that I've just got in from Velduro, the New Zealand company. The reason these small brands are getting so much attention, they're not tied into the old multi-year Bosch deals that the big players signed into ages ago. That means they can move fast and use the hot new Avinox motor, 120 Newton meters, 1000 watts peak, compact battery with a touchscreen, tons of tech. So Velduro is the latest one to drop. It's built by a team that's been in the industry for decades. So let's take a look over the bike and then we'll take it for a first ride on my local trails and I'll give you some first ride impressions. So it's an enduro bike with either 165 or 170mm of rear travel. Comes with a 170mm fork. Now interestingly, you can buy it as a frame set only, which is really cool, and it starts at £4,499 without a shock, or $4,999 with a shock, and then you just build your own bike around it. So it's a full carbon bike. This one weighs in at 23.9 kilos. That's with alloy wheels and double down tyres front and rear. Enduro Geo, so 63.5 degree head angle. I've got a size large on paper. It's a little bit too small for me. I'm just on the cusp of being a large or an XL. I'm 6'3". The bike's got enduro based geometry, 63.5 degree head angle, fairly long wheelbase, but it's got a really short rear end. They say 440mm for the chainstay. I measure it at 437. What's really interesting is it's got a high pivot design. So one of the benefits of this is it reduces the amount of pedal kickback as the suspension compresses. And if you see, when I'm compressing the suspension, the crank arm doesn't rotate like you get on lots of bikes. And that should erase some of those small bump pieces of feedback that you can get that you might not realise, but you do through the cranks. When you're charging through roots and rocks and you're getting that suspension flutter, it should iron out all of that feedback that you can get going through the chain into the cranks. So it's a 4-bar suspension design, which personally I really like. It's got a straight seat tube, so you can fit long dropper posts. It's completely uninterrupted. This bike has a really short seat tube height. It's about 430mm, which is pretty short. It's got a 210mm dropper as standard. So we've got a high pivot 4-bar with a short back end, 4,499 frame only option, Avinox power. Looks really interesting on paper. Let's see if it actually rips on proper UK slop. Let's see how it rides. It's really sketchy, pretty slippy conditions. Rear suspension feels pretty plush, as you'd expect, 170mm travel. So I can tell that the rear chainstay does feel quite short because I have to really weight the front on some of the corners. Whoa, the rear turns crazy fast. It does, like on the steeper stuff just coming down there, turn really quickly. The rear's nice and supple though. Typical like techie enduro track. To be honest, the bike is too small for me. It just feels a bit sketchy. Definitely short chainstay, you can feel that. These aren't the most cornery types of tracks either, but I can feel like I have to get my weight pitched quite far forward to feel the front tyre dig in. Rear suspension feels pretty good, nice and supple. Motor is rattly, I can notice it. Yeah, in real life, the kind of trail sounds kind of overpower the motor rattle. Rear suspension feels very, very nice. Definitely like a little bit more stack out the front. It's kind of low, even with a 50mm bar, but can't really complain. Right, mate. On a bike that's a bit too small. What I have noticed with the bike is just how sensitive the rear suspension is. It's very, very progressive. It's like 34-35% roughly progression, and you get very, very fluttery feeling off the top. For these constant chattery routes that I'm on, that's really nice because it just reduces the harshness through the feet. And the other thing is the high pivot with the idler really does minimize pedal kickback, so your feet aren't getting blown off the pedals, and it just makes the ride more calm. It's quite difficult to use all of the travel. I've not been pushing it super hard because yeah, the bike's brand new and yeah, it's a bit too small for me, so I don't feel like massively confident on it just yet, but it's using nearly all the travel. I've got like maybe another 5 mil of that like suspension travel left. Okay, so fresh back from the first ride. Some things I liked, some things I didn't like.
The standout for me is the rear suspension. Hands down the sweetest feeling Avinox bike I've ridden so far in terms of that rear suspension. It's insanely supple off the top. It's super progressive, around 34%, and the high pivot idler does a lot to kill the pedal kickback. On chattery, rooty trails, it just glides, and the bike stays ridiculously calm even when you're smashing square edges. One thing I did notice, it's so progressive that it's actually quite hard to use every last millimetre of travel. I did leave it in the longer 170mm progressive mode the whole ride, which also bumps the progression up a touch and increases the travel from 165 to 170. And even on some pretty big hits, I still had around 4 to 5mm left on the O-ring. That means it will feel properly bottomless when you really start sending it. The flip side, and this is mostly because I'm 6'3" on the large, is that 437 chainstay feels too short with that low front end. It's mega playful and whips the rear around ridiculously fast in the tight, steep stuff, but on anything faster, flatter or slightly off camber, I was constantly having to shift my weight forward to keep the front tyre biting. Longer chainstays on the large and XL bike would make it way more balanced for taller riders. I have heard a rumour that longer chainstays are coming, but nothing that I can confirm so far. Motor rattle is there. It's noticeably louder than the latest Bosch Gen 5, but once the trail noise kicks in, you do stop noticing it most of the time. At the end of the day, for a brand new company to come out swinging with a full carbon high pivot Avinox-powered enduro bike that you can buy for $4,500 as a frame only kit is seriously impressive. The suspension kinematics are really good, and it's good to see some build options with full bikes and frame only. There's already a massive owners thread on eMTB forums on this bike with way more real world feedback and build pics, so I'll put a link in the description. And thanks for watching, thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you on the next one.